Yo, YouTube. Welcome to another Comic-Jon news brief. In today's video, we'll be covering the actual Mandarin who will appear in the new Shang-Chi movie, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, but most importantly, the Ten Rings themselves. Let's get into it. Welcome all my attention deficit disorder members. It is I, your controller of chaos, your director of distraction, Comic-Jon, and it's time for another Comic-Jon news brief. I'm actually starting to do live giveaways, guys. We have 2 sweet Iron Man and Cap compression t-shirts. All you have to do is leave a comment with your prediction of who the main antagonist of Marvel Phase 4/Avengers 5, who's going to fill Thanos' shoes. Pretty big freaking shoes to fill, literally and figuratively, so leave a comment down there. Tell me who you think the new villain's going to be, and considering we only have about like 12 subscribers, your chances of winning are huge. So they name drop and hint at the Mandarin in the first 2 acts of Iron Man 3. Then we finally meet him, and it's Ben Kingsley, which to most, comic book fans and to the audience, this makes perfect sense. It's a super high-profile Iron Man villain being played by a super high-profile A-list actor. Great. This makes sense. This is on par with, casting Robert Downey Jr. and then Jeff Bridges, and we also have Don Cheadle. So Ben Kingsley as this crazy big bad villain, this ageless villain, makes perfect sense. Then they pulled the rug out from under us. Yeah. He's not the Mandarin. He's some lame TV actor playing the part of the Mandarin. The Ten Rings then send one of their guys to apprehend him, all while the actor has no clue the importance of whom he is pretending to be. But this actually pissed the audience off. I think we all really wanted Ben Kingsley to be the Mandarin instead of this stupid actor, this buffoon portraying him. It just felt like a huge buildup, only to be left with like a fake version of a fake character. The worst. However, Feige and Marvel and everybody heard the disapproval and they responded swiftly with, don't worry, we're going to do the Mandarin. Shit, who had any idea anyone cared about the Mandarin? Sheesh. So they took from 2008 when Iron Man 1 came out until around now to figure out how to introduce the Mandarin. And that'll be in the upcoming Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings movie due out in 2021. The title of the movie, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. There's a gang named the Ten Rings. But the legend of the literal 10 alien rings that the Mandarin wears, that's what we're going to get into. The 10 rings are like a watered-down version of the Infinity Stones, or the Infinity Gauntlet. When you wear all 10 rings at once, you can kind of manipulate everything. And we're going to get into what each ring represents and how they're used in just a little bit. But as you can recall in Iron Man 3, this schmuck actor is about to out himself as simply an actor pretending to be the Mandarin. And the Mandarin, this guy that is he's subject to legend. People barely even believe that he's real. And the Ten Rings guy apprehend him. They get him out. They bust him out of jail before he could admit that he's a fake. And it's basically because he has to answer to the real Mandarin himself for ruining his name. And instead of, this evil mastermind, he's coming off as a bit of an idiot. And but the Ten Rings, the group, they're kind of like a terrorist ISIS and they have divisions or little cells all over the world or all over the Middle East, and they're all kind of inspired by some living or dead god, but they don't have any coordination. There's no weekly sales summits or conference calls between the cells. They kind of just do whatever they want. There's really no communication, and it's all in the name of one person. The guy that was working with Obadiah Stane to purchase the Stark tech, they just kind of do their own thing, whatever they want, without any uniformed code or ethics. And that guy, he knew the real Mandarin as well as Ben Kingsley's character did. The Mandarin's tale is said to go back 1,000 years, and wouldn't you know, we have a new movie in Marvel Phase 4 with some 1,000-year-old characters. Perhaps you've heard of them. The Eternals? Much? Oh yeah, also Thor and pretty much anyone from Asgard. So we're starting to piece things together. We're starting to make it all make sense. But the 10 rings actually keep the Mandarin alive. And they kind of like age him slower. Kind of like,
the precious the Mandarin needs our 10 rings. He will get old and he won't be able to be in control with the preciouses. 10 preciouses.
So the story you will most likely touch on ancient China and the origin of the 10 rings, or just the origin of the original Mandarin finding and using the 10 rings, ruling from behind the scenes. So without further ado, it's time to get in to the 10 rings. So the 10 rings were found in the Valley of Spirits in China by the Mandarin. They originally belonged to a dragon-like race, the Axon Kar, who used the rings simply as a power source for their engines that get them all over outer space. The Mandarin learned how to use and make them respond to his personal commands, very similar to the Infinity Stones. However, he has been using the rings for so long, his mind actually is inhabiting the rings, and he is the only one who can use them, even over far distances. The rings are not only specific to each hand, but also to each finger. And without any further ado, I present to you the 10 rings. Pinky finger. Ice blast. Pretty self-explanatory. It can freeze anything that has water in it. Ring finger. Mento intensifier. Short-range mind control. The middle finger. Electroblast. Emits electrical energy determined by the wearer, in this case the Mandarin. Full potential unknown. The index finger, the thumb. White light emits energy from the electromagnetic spectrum. Intense blinding light and laser beams. Right hand, pinky, black light. Creates an area of absolute blackness where all light is absorbed. It is believed the ring accesses the dark force, used by people such as Darkstar and the Shroud. Middle finger, the vortex beam. Causes air to swirl about in a vortex at high speeds, can levitate objects, propel the wearer in flight, and also be used as a weapon. The index finger, impact beam. Emits approximately 350 pounds of dynamite, can also cause intense sonic vibrations, and create magnetic waves. The thumb. Matter rearranger. Can rearrange molecules and speed slow their movements to result in various effects. Cannot transmute objects.